everyone. For all those whom I can't see, unfortunately, uh, just a disclaimer: I love giving talks on stage where I can actually see people looking at me. I'm pretty sure there will be people working in different time zones, having different sipping, some sipping coffee, some sipping beer. Me here, I'm just going to sip a glass of water and talk here. Now, I've been listening to very interesting talks, but this one is something where it is like it is very close to my heart. It's about trying to bust the myths about people in the tech industry and all the issues that we are facing. And this is nothing to do with personal issues. This is completely business driven, right? Now, uh, scaling a tech enterprise, I assume that everyone's thinking about different types of scaling a product and stuff like that. Every slide of mine is a pictorial pun on the word scale. So, worst comes to worst, definitely identify that pun. Now, talking about scale, that's the scariest slide in my presentation, I promise. I could definitely talk to you about all kinds of product architecture and scaling a product and Kubernetes and a microservices ecosystem. I'll gladly talk about all this, but I'm not going to talk about all this at all, right? First things first, I have I'm a stickler for getting my name right, and this is only because I love the way people mispronounce my name. So I always have this slide where people can remember me by. And to remember my first name, remember the Gotham city. My name is Gautam. It's Gotham with a twist. And my last name is right out of Bob Marley, the genre reggae. So it's Gautam Rege. A little bit about my company. We are based out of Dallas and in India, and we're very big proponents of open source. I'm also an author of a couple of books. We're about 400 people strong now. We're a services based company based out of Dallas in India and doing a lot of product engineering in various different technologies. Mine two specialities being Ruby and Go. Now, a technology enterprise is always divided among a product or a service. And typically, you will always be asked this question: do you work for a product company? Do you work for a services company? And unfortunately or fortunately, they are all gauged by different success factors. A product company, you want to look at your ARR, you want to look at subscription, you don't want to look at how much profitability, but the scale, the traction, the customer acquisition cost, the data scale, how big data is going to change the game, getting on unfortunate terms of raising funds using the buzzwords of blockchain and machine learning. Most of the times I've seen a lot of people using the wrong tools for the wrong job, and I'm not saying anything against it, but a services company on the other hand is gauged with completely different factors. Here you're looking at top line, you're looking at EBITDA, you're looking at the number of employees you have, you're looking at talent, how are you going to scale. Now, where do you lie? And I'm not here to talk about a product company or a services company. I'm here to tell you all that a product is only as good as its service. So, in my personal opinion, there is no difference between a product company or a services company. Both of them go hand in hand. Now, when we break that myth of a product and a service, the problem statement for success suddenly changes. It becomes about how we're going to scale from a small unit to scaling an army. And all our operational efficiency depends on the business information systems that we are working with. Now, there are a lot of tools available, and I'm sure all of you all are using at least a plethora of these tools and a lot more. There are so many tools available which will ensure that we are collaborating. The problem is that there are only a couple of players everywhere who are actually taking the industry by storm, unfortunately. Some among them, well, let me put it out this way. I wish I had an audience right in front of me, but I would have a raise of hands if there is somebody not using either of these tools. And if you do, accolades from me. I really appreciate the fact that if you're not using any Google Workspace or Microsoft Teams, you're actually doing the right thing. But what am I saying? 99% of the people, the companies, are all stuck, and I repeat the word stuck, in this ecosystem. So why am I complaining? Business is only as good as the service we provide, the collaboration that we have. And unfortunately, these are the two companies which are actually getting us together on one common platform. While that sounds as a benefit, if you are a company and you know that you are never, ever, ever going to scale in as a product or service, why will up to 300 people? I know the slide says 500, but that's the negotiating power of a salesman in your company. If your company is never going to scale beyond 500 people, just use any of these cloud platforms. It doesn't matter. If you're already a large product or a service company with more than 3,000 people, you're using the enterprise cloud anyway. You have big money, you have big budget, you are sorted. The problem, ladies and gentlemen, the problem is what happens when you want to scale from 500 odd people, 300 odd people to 3,000 people. A lot of companies fall in this bracket. Now, when you are at 300 people, you will have one of your Google or Microsoft sales business development engineers come and tell you, sir, it's you have to move to the enterprise cloud. Now, the problem with the enterprise cloud is that it is expensive. It is almost 10 times more expensive than working under the 300 bracket. What do? You negotiate. You negotiate and talk to them about, I want more people. So they give you 500 people. This is all just casting a net such that you are so far deep in the quicksand that you are probably never going to get out of it. At one particular stage, you are reaching a breaking point. Now, the big question is, do you want to accept that as a ground reality? Or do you want to change the game? The good part is that there is a solution around this. Okay? The cloud hybrid approach. Now, the cloud hybrid approach is utilizing open source to its maximum. I am not a proponent of any particular platform, any particular service, but I'm a proponent of open source tools. Some among them which got my eye were things like Nextcloud, OwnCloud, and there are a lot of them there. You can even set up your own stuff. While you are able to set up your own cloud service with on-premise or hosted on a VPC, you can have your own mail servers, your conferencing calls, the desktop mobile applications, your own authentication, single sign-on, encryption. Everything works. And it works. Now you must be asking, what do I do? I currently have 400 people. This talk is entirely out of this particular conundrum that I had. What do we do when we reach breaking point? Currently, we are evaluating both of them. And I have 6 months more to actually take a decision about whether I use Nextcloud or set up my own stuff, work with any other third vendor. The good part is that I found that these solutions actually work. Now, it's not necessary that they have to be the best of the best. They don't have to have that GPT-3 based ecosystem in Google Cloud and Google Sheets where you can do all the fancy stuff. You can use your personal account for that. This essentially helps me manage my documents, manage my file store, ensure that all the data is with me, ensure that it's completely authenticated. I control the authorization, I control the authentication, I control the cloud. Yes, the only difference is My instances may be in a public cloud or a virtual private cloud, but it's still my data. I'm still in control of how I license it out internally, how I use the users, how I set it up. Whatever I do is completely under my control. I have found it fantastic. 90% of developer workforce that you always have requires collaboration, but does not require document collaboration to the level where two people are sitting and typing at the same time. What you want is collaboration where you have good version control, where you're able to share, comment, update, finalize documents, sheets, slides. You're able to manage your emails. You're going to have internal chat, conferencing, video calls, all this. And of course, workflow automation is always a plus. In addition to this, we must remember that it is not a cure all. One or two of these solutions are not going to help me solve all my problems. Security is, of course, very critical. And for security, I personally am a proponent of zero trust security. Whichever way you look at it, we must move towards the no VPN movement. Set up the security systems, set up your own systems. There are service providers who will help you do this. Your single identity manager, your authorization service, and these are services which allow you to get into the zero trust ecosystem. You want to definitely have your mobile device management. uh, Considering the environment of everyone working hybrid, everyone working in a remote office or any which way, you need to have tools which will allow you to control devices which are especially issued by your company. As the company scales, these things become more critical because processes are critical. And of course, never forget the continuous data protection. There are plenty of companies which are already doing this. And this is just a few of the names that I have taken. Again, I don't endorse any one of them, as long as you use one of these services to ensure that you're getting it done right. Now, along with security, of course, observability is key. And luckily for me, if I had this in any other conference, I would have to explain what this is. But I'm so happy that this is one slide I don't actually have to explain. This is very easily done by all products that we manage. In addition to observability, operational efficiency is always the key. I'll take a moment for that slide because I love this slide. It's taken me a lot of effort to actually get these slides in. This is a traditional Indian dish with turmeric on it, and the fish that has been generated is with using spoons, and it's just awesome. That's why I just kept this slide out there, because it's very well designed. Now, sorry, focus back. Operational efficiency is all about ensuring that you have centralized operations. Now, in the world of an IT industry, a tech enterprise, centralized operations are easier done in the cloud. So definitely have a hybrid cloud setup, or a setup where you can have these operations in one place. You need to have a comprehensive MIS, a dashboard, a management information system, which is giving you a consolidated picture. And I'll give you examples from my personal experience. We have an office in Pune, in Dallas, in Dubai, and in Bangalore. I need to know the concentrated efforts of who is working on which product in which project, what is the status, what are the common timesheets, the leave management. Utilize an existing or good HR management system, utilizing a good timesheet, leave management system. We don't actually have any kind of tracking tools. We don't want to track anyone's time, but time management is important itself. So we don't have any of those tools which take a snapshot of your screen and trying to figure out what you're doing. But getting together to find out what is operational efficiency of your product, of your system, of your people is critically important. And nothing goes about without a tight control on finance. So right from automation of invoices, could be QuickBooks or any other tool, to having an automated invoice reminder system, to having your own support system, maybe Zendesk or Freshdesk or any other tool out there, all integrated into your ecosystem under one roof in a single place. That brings in a lot of operational efficiency. To point in hand, an example of a company which is an insurance broking agency in India. This company is currently doing upwards of about $25 million a year in terms of premium collection. They issue like over 3,000 policies per day, 18,000 insurance quotations, and they are managing over 35,000 people, all from a single office. And there is no cash management, there is no movement of people, everything is online. It took years to build this entire integrated tech with a huge number of different tools all integrating into each other. And this is an excellent example of just bringing in the entire operational efficiency that we are looking at. Now, you might wonder that there are cases where one person talks, the other person actually figures out what else to do. But we also have to figure out an ecosystem where we are looking at each thing step by step. So we are looking at a case where we are trying to get people, and I'm using this word again, we are trying to get people to work towards a situation where everyone is going in the same direction. Now, by direction, I mean that you're using tools like, uh, say, Drive Strike, to ensure that you may have machines spread across all over the world, but at any given one point in time, there is an agent running there, there is a sentinel or similar tool running there, which is actually monitoring whether the device is correctly, has all the updates, the patches, if it's a Linux or a Windows or a Mac or an iOS or Android. It is all being built and being delivered according to the rules, as long as there is no malware, freeware, uh, tools which are getting installed. All this stuff is to be monitored and tracked very, very carefully. This company has 35,000 agents or employees, deemed employees, which are spread in every state in India. Everything from them is run on their mobile phones. Every activity of theirs that they're doing, business activity, including revenue generation, is tracked. And there lies a huge, important problem that they're solving. Since there is no money movement, it is all it's all digital, and everyone is tracked very carefully. Now, while we are looking at, it's still a company, right? We very easily misunderstand a company for being very, very transactional. It's very easy for us to say, what is a person's operational efficiency, what is a product's operational efficiency, where are we looking at which tools to run in which enterprise at which location. But at the end of the day, it is so important for us to ensure that we have an ecosystem which is not only transactional but also very relational. And it is important because, just like you can see the pine cone scales here, every different scale makes up for that one particular aspect of your company's success. So while we are trying to build a tech enterprise, while we are trying to scale the product, while we are looking at new technologies and rebuilding everything, we have to ensure that we also keep everything nice and interesting. We ensure that there are different activities that are happening in the office, not necessarily towards just which are being towards revenue generation, but also activities which are driving the community. As part of driving the community, it is also important for us to ensure that the ecosystem thrives, and across all genders, across all ages, across all locations. Sports forms a very important part of these activities. Different kinds of trekking, sporting activities always helps. Music has been great. These are actually photos from our office where we are running different kinds of programs, running different kinds of setups where people are actually enjoying themselves. And I wish you all the best in ensuring that we keep scaling to new heights, because that's what the game is all about.